Hmm. Hello. Meeting. Hello. I have no idea how this works. Hmm. Okay. Okay. So I am trying to stream this live on YouTube. I've never done it, but I figured since I don't do any video editing and I just one shot all of my videos, I should just stream it directly in YouTube. And maybe, I don't know, just try something new. And here I am. I'm doing it. I'm doing it from Zoom because I'd like to share my screen. I don't know how to do that from YouTube. If I try to go live there, but I didn't know how. Anyways, it's me, Dominic, the CX guy, your favorite Zendesk consultant in the universe. And I'm here with another lesson. Today's topic is going to be, what are Zendesk brands? This is another one of your questions, which I'd like to address. And yeah, I'd like to walk you through what that means. So if you don't know, Zendesk brand is a customer facing entity represented by a collection of contact points. So these contact points can include like an email address, a help center, or a guide or FAQ system, messaging for web widgets, and also web widget classic for talk when you're on the phone, or Twitter or Facebook. So to put it differently, brands are different entities that you use in a company. So imagine, for example, this is the most common example. You are a company that functions in Europe, right? And you have, let's say, a company running in Germany that sells electronics, and its color is blue, and it's called, I don't know, I'm not very creative today, but it has a name, and it's a German name, and it has a color blue. And then you have an entity which sells in France the same products, but it's a French name this time, and it's in color red, and it has a different identity altogether, but it's still the same parent company. And you have another one which sells in the UK, and it sells the same electronic products, but it has a UK name, like an English name, and it has the color purple. And this would be different brands. So each country would have its own different brand. So the reason why I say you have a different brand is because you can have a different URL for customers to visit your guide. So your guide, if you're unfamiliar, guide is where you keep your frequently asked questions, right? So imagine I'm a German customer and I have a problem with one of your products. So I'm asking for support from the German entity, right? Which I know it's called whatever, GmbH, whatever GmbH. So I'm asking for support from there. And I have an email address, which is support at whatever GmbH.de, and I'm asking for support there, and I'm receiving an answer back from the same email address in German and whatnot. And then the support agent says, in German, of course, says, yeah, sure, we can handle that request for you. But first, maybe you could read this article, which we have written specifically for your type of issue. And then that user, a customer, would click that link, which has a, in the link in the URL, a whatever GmbH dot article dot whatever the article is, and then they just visit that domain, which is going to be branded as, for example, the color blue, which is the style guide and the branding of the German company. And very similarly, exactly in a mirror example, it would be the same for French example and for the UK example. So this is in essence what a brand would be, and the differentiation between them. Now, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to jump into my test account so I can show you what this looks like. And maybe it's going to make a little bit more sense because, yeah, I'm not sure how much sense I can make right now. without showing you stuff. I'm a visual person, so if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. All right, so let's go share my screen. Hopefully you can see it. Let me hide this. Okay, so you can see my screen. So I am going to go directly. Okay, so I have some views here. I think Michael has been playing around. It's nicht zu gewinn the tickets. Okay, so this is his tickets. So let's go to admin and we'll go to manage. And in manage, we have brands. All right, so in brands, by default, not by default, by default, you just have one. But now we have 4, right? Because everyone is playing around. By the way, I can't do this any, do these Zendesk consultancy projects by myself anymore because the demand is high and I cannot do everything by myself. I work with 6 other people, and I am, some projects you're not going to get Dominic CX, you're going to get either Paul or Michael or George or whoever is going to be available to talk to you or to do stuff with you. The thing is, I have written down my processes and I have refined them through the years so well that I can teach them to someone else and someone else can teach them to you. So this is a proof that they actually work. Anyway, that's beside the point. I digress. You can see these 4 brands, right? So Dominic brands, right? So I've named it Dominic brands. You can see this is the subdomain for it, or the domains respectively. So condominiccx.zendesk.com. So if I would go here to this, it's exactly this one. It's the main one. So condominiccx.zendesk.com/HC. And I would go to the FAQ or the guide of that brand, right? I also have email addresses that are specific to this brand, right? So I have support@condominiccx.zendesk.com, and I have help@condominiccx.zendesk.com. So email addresses are also linked to this. Okay, I can host map this to create a different domain name so it doesn't contain Zendesk in it. So you have a clean domain name for the user experience, so they don't don't get confused about what Zendesk is. Then I have another one, which is called Dominic CX brand. And this one is dominiccx.zendesk.com, right? So it doesn't have that con at the beginning. I can add a logo. I can add a signature because all the agents that are working in this brand are, different from everyone else. And they need to have a consistent user experience for your customers. They need to know, the customers need to know, they need to reference a brand with its style guide and its communication and language and everything else to do with the branding, right? So the brand has to reflect whatever the customer is used to. And if you activate in multiple countries, for example, you need brands for different countries. This is brand number 2, MSD Enterprise. This is Michael's. And he also has a name. He also created a subdomain. He also has a signature, a logo, etc. Help center. By the way, let's see this one as well. So as you can see, I have another link, right? So customers can come in here and see articles only related to MSD Enterprise, and which are relevant only to this brand, okay? And as you can see, I have another one here, but this is a different URL, and I have different content in here, different articles, different sections, different categories. Everything is different, okay? It looks the same or similar, but not quite same but different. So it's not exactly the same, but it looks very much similar because I have not customized the HTML CSS of these brands. So the front end of these is not customized, but it definitely can be customized. Okay, so these are 2 different brands. Now I have shown you what they look like in here in brands, and you can create one for yourself. And you can also require brands before save. So if an agent deals with a ticket, they have to choose a brand. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to add another brand because we have enough already. So I'm going to go scroll down to channels and email, and I'm going to show you the email, the separate emails that each brand has. So Dominic's brand, if you remember, we saw this the first one, and then we have support@condominiccx.com. So it is here. I have amazing@condominics.zendesk.com, right? So these are two email addresses just belonging to this brand, right? So these will be the default, not the default, but these will be the communication emails that this brand will be using, and customers reaching out to this brand will only receive communication from these email addresses. And then now moving on, Dominic CX brand has its own different email addresses and order, and Dominic the CX INFs, etc. And then MSD Enterprises has its own email address, and Paul has his own email address brand. So as you can see, this is the main differentiation. So the emails, the guides that I've shown you earlier, and then there's also web widgets, which currently I only have 3. There could be potential to add a 4th for MSD Enterprises. It's not in here, but I can add it. I can go in here and it asks me select your brand, MSD Enterprises. Here we go. Save. So these ones I can use. So for example, if I have a brand in Germany and I have special content that is just dedicated to Germany, I can install this widget on the German website, and the German customers can go in and search for articles in that German brand, which are specific to Germany, and they could submit a request specific to Germany. And processes are always different, probably in each country, because there's different laws, the different approaches to everything, right? So it's all very well thought of. So, okay, so you have widgets, and let's see what else would be of interest. Okay, another very cool thing is that you can create business rules, and yeah, and you can set apart each brand, right? You can say if ticket comes in and it's belonging to German brand, then assign it to the German group, assign to, let's say, urgent priority, because maybe, I don't know, urgent, the German brand has a more higher priority, and the SLAs for that brand kick into play. And then, yeah, you have a prioritization and the routing rule already set up, just because you know the brand and you've used the email addresses which belong to that brand. So yeah, these are some examples of how this works, and I hope this makes sense to you. Yeah, so if you have any other questions, I'd be very happy to address them. This concludes my first YouTube Live. I don't know how this streaming has gone. I hope it's okay. I'm just going to